I had a look at the Reddit Dog Free website yesterday, and I noticed a number of posts about dogs in cemeteries. I knew that dog owners were disgusting and disrespectful, but this marked a new low for me. I was shocked to learn that many cemeteries actually allow dogs. Other cemeteries don't allow dogs, but dog owners are bringing their dogs there anyway. And I think this is outrageous. To give you an example of the type of people we are dealing with here, there is a pit bull extremist who encourages others to defecate on the graves of certain pit bull victims, specifically to target the ones whose family members have become public safety advocates or anti-pit bull, in his opinion. I found another website called cuteness.com that has an article about dogs in cemeteries. Is it okay to walk my dog in a cemetery? I thought I would talk to you about this article. Should we walk our dogs in a cemetery, yes or no? It outlines the reasons why I think dogs should not be allowed in cemeteries. It is not respectful to walk your dog in a cemetery. Because cemeteries are solemn places where people often go to visit their deceased family members, many people argue that dogs can only disrupt that. At the Mountain View Cemetery in the Bay Area of California, the community has been upset by dog walkers on the grounds. One resident told the East Bay Times that letting dogs on the grounds isn't okay. He said it's resulted in activities that are outrageous and painful to those of us who have family members interred. I'm rethinking my plans to buy there and be with my family. Do I want to be in a place where dogs are going to be pooping all over me? Pooping and peeing, let's not forget. Online, dog lovers engage in a fierce debate against dog owners who said they walk their dogs in cemeteries. One GermanShepherd.com user explained, "As a mom to 3 human deceased children and both parents, I get super upset when I see dogs running loose through graveyards. Walking on a leash on the paths, roads, still a bit unsettling. Why? If dog has to go, no one stops them from doing so on the edges of the paths, roads, driveways, which oftentimes are still pretty darn close to gravesites." Another user argued, "How are you being respectful of gravesites if your dog is going to the bathroom there?" Clearly, the major themes are concerns that pets will do their business on the dead, and that seems like a pretty reasonable worry. Also, there's the disrespect factor. What if a dog barks or otherwise interrupts while someone is trying to pay their respects? We can see how keeping dogs out of cemeteries might be the best solution. In my video entitled "Barking Dogs Are Ruining Our Lives," I talked about how many of us have nervous systems that are very sensitive to the jarring, repetitive noises dogs make. Incurable Trickster left a comment recently that describes it very well. "My blood pressure instantly rises, and the insides of my stomach clench and solidify when I hear barking. My reaction is instant, and it takes a long time for my body's function to return to normal. But given that dogs bark all the time, that means I'm virtually always in a state of constant high stress. There's just no escaping it." When you go to the cemetery to visit your deceased loved ones, you should be able to enjoy an atmosphere of peace and quiet where you can contemplate and pray and just have peace. Dogs disrupt that atmosphere. They are not conducive to a peaceful atmosphere, the type of atmosphere that needs to be maintained in a cemetery. Over 4.5 million people are bitten every year by dogs. Over 28,000 reconstructive surgeries are performed every year in the USA because of dogs. How many people have PTSD because they or someone they care about was attacked by a dog? How many people have PTSD whose symptoms are triggered when they see a dog, at the very sight of a dog? You know, bringing your dog into a cemetery is ridiculous because many people are afraid of dogs, and seeing a dog is going to cause them to feel afraid and anxious. These are not the feelings one wants to feel when they are in a cemetery visiting their deceased loved ones. Have some respect for those who are grieving. Leave your dog at home or bring it somewhere else. Dog waste kills grass and trees. It just burns them, turns them yellow. In cemeteries that are maintained and manicured and landscaped, this is not what you want. The Army agrees. Although pets were allowed in Arlington Cemetery in Washington, D.C. last year, the Army changed those policies, citing the fact that they've decided dogs impact the decorum of funeral services and ceremonies at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Now, only service dogs and military dogs are allowed on the premises. Even they should not be allowed, for the reasons I mentioned. However, other users believe that as long as dogs are respectful, they have the same rights to visit a cemetery as anyone else. We take the family dog with us to the cemetery. Why? Because the dog is just as much a part of the family as anyone else. And perhaps the deceased was very close with the animal. You don't know this person's story. And Dingo Mutt on metafilter.com explained why a dog might actually be a comforting sight. I would be comforted by the presence of a dog if I were at a loved one's funeral, even if it were just a dog going on a walk with her person. Nobody cares. Okay, I might be comforted by the sight of a snake or a tarantula, but a lot of people don't like those animals, so people don't bring those animals to funerals or to cemeteries. The way you feel about dogs is irrelevant. What is relevant is the fact that 1 in 20 people have a crippling fear of dogs, and many, many, many more are anxious and uncomfortable in the presence of dogs. So you are a selfish jerk. Nobody cares how you feel about dogs. If a dog is visiting a loved one or comforting their owner who is, why shouldn't they be allowed to be a part of the mourning process? Plus, in cities or areas where there aren't nice, quiet parks, cemeteries tend to be well-kept, peaceful places to take a stroll. Okay, why shouldn't they be allowed to be a part of the mourning process? Number one, they have no clue what a cemetery is, what it's for. They don't know that their previous owner or whoever is buried under the ground. I actually read an article once that stated that dogs might be able to smell their owners under the ground, but even if that's true, the only thing on the dog's mind is how to get to the dead body so that it can eat the dead body. It's a fact that dogs regularly consume their deceased owners. Even when there is ample dog food available in the house, they will go for the deceased person, usually starting with the face, and eat them because it's a warm, bloody meal, and dogs love that. Dogs do not grieve the way humans do. They don't have the capacity or the brain power. Their brains are the size of lemons or smaller. They do not process the same emotions we do. They don't know what the cemetery is for. What are we even talking about here? You might have seen this video that went viral of a dog reverse sneezing over someone's grave, and these dog nuts are going on telling people that the dog is crying and believing that the dog is crying. You know, dog worshippers are deceptive and dishonest. They are manipulative. Please see this playlist. Watch my other videos. And most people are just so stupid. They eat this crap up. Look at this. They even put fake tears on the dog in the thumbnail. You know, manipulative. They say dogs should be allowed in cemeteries if they are respectful. Just like dogs should be allowed in nature reserves or wherever if they remain on a leash and are well behaved. We know that signage and education and pleading with dog owners doesn't work. Dog owners don't care about rules, about signs, about respect. This has been demonstrated clearly over and over and over again. Dog owners are extremely selfish and ignorant. Not all of them, but I would say the majority are. They are inconsiderate of and hostile to others. They have narcissistic and psychopathic characteristics. Look at this. This is just one example of the mayhem dog owners are causing in cemeteries. Dog allowed to run free in local cemetery, chases small dog, humps lady, then gets hit. Honestly, never seen such a shitty owner as today. Staffy pit type, of course. The guy does nothing except shout his name when he clearly has zero recall. Isn't that always the case? The dog runs up to a woman and her little dog and will not leave them alone. Luckily not aggressive to the woman or dog, but the guy doesn't even bother coming to get him until the dog starts repeatedly humping the woman and she is yelling, "He's over here, get him." Yeah, just what you want when you're visiting your deceased loved ones. Yeah, you want to deal with this. You want to be sexually assaulted by a dog. Owner finally slowly wanders over. Then, when he gets there, proceeds to whip the dog repeatedly with its lead. Yeah, you want to be sexually assaulted, and you also wish to witness violence when you are at the cemetery. The other dog owner, who to be fair must be responsible as hers was on a lead and docile. Yeah, what's she doing there with a dog anyway? And I've demonstrated how people are putting themselves at a higher risk of being attacked by dogs when they themselves are out walking with a dog. So, you want to reduce your chances of being assaulted or killed by a dog? Don't own a dog. Don't walk a dog. Anyway, tells him not to hit the dog, don't worry. So the guy takes the dog further away and hits it in its face. Now, you go to a cemetery for quiet contemplation, prayer, to relax, to grieve. This is not the type of nonsense you want to be dealing with. And this is exactly the type of stuff that's going to go on and continue going on until we ban all dogs from all cemeteries and strictly enforce the law. The argument is made that dogs should be allowed in cemeteries because they comfort their grieving owners. Many other things can comfort their grieving owners. Other humans, for example, friends, family members. You need comforting? Call someone up to go with you to the cemetery. What is wrong with people? What? Do you have no human connections? Why is that? If you're having trouble connecting with people, see a therapist to help you work through your issues so that you can enjoy an actual two-way relationship with someone who, unlike a dog, actually has the capacity to love you, to care about you, to have empathy for you. Dogs lack empathy. Dogs do not love you. Work through your issues. Bring a stuffed animal if you have to. Bring a crystal. Bring whatever. Bring your dog, but leave it in the car for 5 minutes. What, you can't be without your dog for 5 minutes? What is wrong with you? Maybe you ought to see a psychiatrist if that is the case. It's crazy that we tolerate this. I am mystified as to why we tolerate dogs in cemeteries, barking dogs in our neighborhoods, disfigurements, deaths. It's one story after another. Dog attack after dog attack. Child killed. Another child killed. Elderly people killed. Over and over and over again. And we tolerate this. Why? Someone explain to me why society puts up with this chaos, this mayhem, this craziness. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I can't believe that future generations are going to put up with this. This is like caveman stuff. This is stuff from our primitive past. This kind of thing has no place in a civilized society. The future is dog-free.